So let's talk about something first. First of all, let's go over the results. From last lab, it's not difficult. Number one, everybody have a broth. You should have a broth. So after inoculate a bacteria there, you will see its growth. So first thing first, does everybody who has transparent one? If you have your broth is completely transparent, nothing there, that means it's not grow bacteria. Basically. Is that transparent? Pretty much not. Okay, that's good. Then, how do you know bacteria are growing there? There are three important markers to indicate a bacterial growth. Number one is the whole tube looks turbidity. Or, layman language, we say it's cloudy. That means the bacteria is growing. I think most of you will see it's become turbidity. Looks like it's a spoiled juice or spoiled beer. Then that means it's contaminated with bacteria. So you inoculate the bacteria there. Number two, sometimes you will see a bacteria accumulated on the top of the surface of the broth. This is what we call it a pellicles. Pellicle. And usually is on the top of broth. That also tells you a bacteria is growing there. Number three, sometimes you will see a bacteria at the bottom, and you can see it, bottom. There is a big chunk of a smear at the bottom. That's called precipitation, or we call it a sediment. And those we call three markers for bacterial growth, indicate bacterial growth. This is extremely important when you're working in the hospital. If in the morning you have a saline solution, a bag of saline solution, let's say, a big bag, okay? This is a vessel there, 0.9% physiological saline, physical saline. Or you have a glucose bag, and you want to inject this one for a patient. And when you see this liquid has those three markers there, which means this bag you cannot use because it's contaminated with bacteria already. So it's a very simple indication to see a bacteria grow or not. Now sometimes, based on the turbidity, we also mark them 3+, 2+, or 1+, to see how turbidity it is. But it depends on your eyes, so it's difficult to quantify. Another thing I also want to tell you, how we can determine a bacterial growth. We can measure in pH value of the solution. After growing bacteria, the pH, it will be decreased from around 6.8 to about 5.2. Or like 7 to 4 to 5. The reason is acid generate. During the metabolic process, which is indicates the bacteria use the glucose or use the other chemical in nutrients in the broth, and they start to grow, so the pH is decreased. But we don't usually measure it, but I just want to tell you, if you measure it, the pH will go down. Okay, so that's some indication for bacterial growth in a broth. It could be a cloudy, turbidity, a sediment, and the pellicles on the top. So that's the first thing. Second thing is easy. You guys have a slant. And we say it is a temporary storage. I did already. Look at that. It's a zigzag marker. You should have the same thing. Which is, if the bacteria grow there, you see a very clear zigzag marker. And this is the one, if we put into the refrigerator to storage, usually at 4 degrees Celsius, could be 3 to 4 weeks for temporary storage. For temporary storage bacteria. Bacterial culture. Okay, but not too long. It will be dead. If you want to be really longer time to storage bacteria, we have to add glycerin using a semi-solid medium, and then we froze it. Because the glycerin is kind of freezing protection for the bacterial cell to not damaged by the frozen. Because the frozen will generate the crystal. The crystal could be killing bacteria. If we could put the chemical glycerol there, it will be kind of protected. So that's something else. Okay, that's the second one. Okay, what we're going to do today is unknown identification. Identification 1. So we are going to using is gram stain, basically. Okay, using gram stain. So first thing, you should all have a place. And the place which is after you doing the forecage street plating, it should be, you see something there. Absolutely, you see some bacterial colonies growing there. You see a lot. And it grows big, some of them. Is that correct? Some of them a big chunk of smear. Does anybody who doesn't have anything? I think all of you the plates have some colony grow there. So the first step is we're gonna talk about this colony. We call it colony morphology. Okay, what are going to be the colony morphology description? Look at your fact sheets right here. I don't have a color one. If you have a color, you want to see the color page, go look at your lecture slides. Okay, this is what you're going to describe. Is the formation, is the form. For example, that could be punctiform, that could be circular, or it could be irregular. For example, etc. Okay? It could be an elevation, let's say second one. What's the elevation could be? That could be flat, it may be raised, or it may be convex, etc. There's a lot. The last one is margin. The margin that could be entire, or it could be lobate, or it could be erose, etc. So, based on your results, we could describe these colony morphology. Now, I want to tell you one thing. Most of the bacterial cells, the colony morphology on the plates won't tell you much, but sometimes it tells you something. For example, if you have a bacterial culture called Neisseria gonorrhea, okay, Neisseria gonorrhea, G-O-R-N-N-O-R-A-H. If you have a bacterial gonorrhea, it will be a pushable colony. So it really depends. Sometimes the colony morphology will tell you something, but most of the time is not. Therefore, we have to use gram stain to identify that. Okay, so how are you going to do it? Then the steps will be very similar. Everybody do by yourself. Pick 2 different colonies from the agar plates. And you can label them just 1 and 2. And first of all, make a big smear. Same as you did before. Okay? Then, so first of all, the smear preparation. Second step is gram stain. And if you forget about the gram stain procedure, we should always remember the crystal violet, followed by gram iodine, then decoloration with 95% alcohol, and the last one will be counterstain with saffron. Okay, then the steps will be dry and followed by use 10x to find the specimen, switch to 100x with oil immersion. You will find 3 information of bacterial results. What are the 3 information we should record it? Always remember gram reaction, positive or negative. This is everybody knows, but don't forget about the cell morphology, coxal, large, vibro, and the cell arrangement. Could be single, could be tetrad, could be different coxal, could be succinate. Okay? Then the report will be a group of 2 complete lab report and due 2 weeks. Okay? And the details will be in your fact sheets like chapter 8. So that's all the procedure what we have. It's not difficult. You can ask a TA for the consulting, but the majority of the work you have to do by yourself. It's like a take-home quiz and open book quiz, so you do by yourself. Everybody do by yourself, then you can share your results, take a picture, and submit the best results in the report. Remember, this is 15 points. That's 15 points. It's as important as exams. Okay? So that's very important. I hope you do a good job. So you can go ahead to do it.